Now I'm joined by two of our more experienced implementation partners who are going to share with us their perspective on the Anaplan ecosystem and some of the things they've seen throughout their time with us in the Anaplan world. So I'm joined by Joanna Buchholz from Deloitte and Zaf Kamar from LyonPoint Group. If you wouldn't mind, could you just kind of introduce yourselves, let us know what your roles are, and maybe how long you've been with us in the Anaplan ecosystem?
Sure, thanks Chris. Joanna Buchholz, Senior Manager at Deloitte. I sit in our customer and marketing practice, and I specialize on helping bring a consistent experience to our customers. I focus mostly on tech sector, media, and telecommunication clients. I have been in the Anaplan ecosystem since about 2012, 2013, and with Deloitte since 2004.
Great, thank you.
Great, and Chris, good to be with you. Zaf Kamar here from the LyonPoint Group. I serve as Director of our financial services and asset management practices within LyonPoint. My particular role is I help to lead our team through delivery, sales, as well as management of our operations when it comes to serving our customers in the space with the Anaplan enabling technology platform.
Great, thanks so much. Lots of expertise on this couch. So Joanna, several years experience in the Anaplan world. Maybe can you tell us a little bit about how you got started in Anaplan and what that looked like way back?
So back in 2012, Deloitte was leading a plan-to-pay transformation for a Fortune 50 technology client and looking to transform their territory management and quota planning processes. And we were able to pioneer use of Anaplan to help them along that journey. And 5-6 years later, that client has many use cases, globally rolled out Anaplan to 25,000 plus sales reps specifically.
Wow, yeah, very exciting. Very large use case, very early in the Anaplan ecosystem. Thank you. Zaf, what about you? What did your kind of transition into the Anaplan ecosystem look like?
Sure, so prior to joining LyonPoint, I was with another consulting firm, another partner firm, who was focused primarily on Oracle, and I was a solution architect for the Oracle Hyperion set of technologies. In about 2017, I was approached by our leadership, pretty much saying, hey, we'd like to explore other technology options other than Oracle. Would you be interested in leading our Anaplan team? So, it was a bit hard at the time, I think, to look back on all of the accrued experience that I'd had up to that point and make the switch over to Anaplan. But looking back on it, I'm certainly glad that I did.
We're glad you did too. I think that a lot of your experience is very common with probably a lot of our Anaplan Live viewers. Switching from another platform, another technology, whether you're an implementation partner who's kind of transitioning software, or whether you're a customer who just has changed from one of those other, maybe a legacy vendor, maybe another cloud provider to Anaplan. So why would you say, what would you say about Anaplan has you hooked? Why are you still here? Why are you coming back for more?
Sure. From my perspective, I would say that my background is certainly on the implementation side, so really very much hands-on keyboard. My background from an academic perspective, I studied engineering when I was in school, and so I've always approached things from a very sort of logical and what is the differentiating aspect of this particular technology as a driver of why I would gravitate towards that versus something else. So at the end of the day, it comes back to the hyperblock. I was introduced to Anaplan as a technology platform that would be competitive to the Oracle solutions that I had worked on previously, but as I dug deeper and deeper into it, I came to realize that the hyperblock was really something special. There was something behind that patent. It was, the idea of real-time calculations was a bit of a holy grail. And when I dug into Anaplan sufficiently and realized that it was more than just marketing jargon, it was actually real, that was something that was really compelling to me, and it was a key reason why I sort of increased my involvement with it and have stayed with it ever since.
And since then, you've become a certified master Anaplanner. So maybe if you can, if you can maybe geek out a little bit more with us in a little bit more detail than just hyperblock. What's your go-to function or formula?
Ooh, I would say for me, the rank function has some really cool applications that I found with my team, and I like to use that one It's not regularly used as some of the other sums and lookups and things like that.
Hopefully not together.
Not together, yes. Shout out to the OEG team. I would say that when we do get to use it, there's some really powerful things that you can do with it.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. So Joanna, you've kind of been around the ecosystem. You have stuck around for a while. Maybe on a personal or professional note for you, what professionally have you gotten from being involved in the Anaplan ecosystem?
Absolutely. So I started in more of a process role, looking at process transformation, territory processes, quota processes, focusing on the sales planning ecosystem to start, and seeing those processes come to life with the interjection of Anaplan as a platform to help address those process challenges has been a true value add. The other main component to my earlier years in Anaplan was on the adoption side. And so working directly with the business stakeholders to help them understand Anaplan, understand how it was going to transform how they do their daily jobs and make their lives easier, enable them to collaborate globally, cross-function, and seeing that as well firsthand has made me want to stick around. In terms of the practice, just having the opportunities that Anaplan has brought to our team.
And I'm sure delivering those solutions for your clients has kind of helped your career, helped your practice, and
absolutely, and also seeing the tangible, the revenue, the go-to-market, the speed to market that Anaplan has helped my clients with, and seeing those benefits firsthand has also been great.
Yeah, I like that point around how quickly you're able to realize those benefits instead of waiting for I know that you are involved with these large-scale sales transformations, so those are obviously not 1-3 month engagements, but you're able to probably have quicker value on the Anaplan side.
Absolutely, ability to pilot an Anaplan solution in a geography or a business unit or a particular use case, and helping our clients get up and running on Anaplan relatively quickly, even if it is part of a larger transformation addressing multiple processes or cross use case.
That's great. And Zaf, what about for you professionally as you joined the Anaplan ecosystem? Were you on kind of the same trajectory you were on in the Oracle days?
Yeah, no, it's something that's definitely evolved over time. The functions that I was, primarily solving in my prior, sort of pre-Anaplan days were mainly around FP&A, budgeting, forecasting, those types of use cases. And, I'd always ran into a bit of a wall with some other technologies in being able to, get to a level of granularity that was going to allow the customers to really adopt it, to Joanna's point. So things like, vendor level planning, being able to go down below, a line of just consulting fees or something like that, down to, hey, what are the different firms that make that up? Same thing with technology, same thing with T&E especially, right? That's a big area, or marketing spend in general, right? Where having those supporting schedules, right, was really something that wasn't able to be done as well in other technologies. And with Anaplan, the way that it's architected, you're really able to bring that to life, and you're really able to deliver that sort of last mile functionality to those customers to really get them off of Excel, right, or their other legacy systems, and get them onto a planning environment and a planning system that's going to really, pay dividends for them in the long term.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's also personally rewarding for you to see that happen and see the results of that.
Yeah, it certainly is. I think, from a professional perspective, it's helpful to be able to, I think, reflect on the experiences that I've had, and, being able to have that on the tip of my tongue as like, hey, not in this tool, or from a comparative perspective, here's the way that things kind of used to have to be done. And in this new, sort of modern digital finance era that we're in right now, let's use the modern digital finance, platforms like Anaplan, and, being able to deliver those types of experiences for our customers is really impactful, really powerful, and it's no surprise that I think Anaplan finds itself on that sort of leading edge of delivering these solutions to, our customers going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. So changing gears a little bit, you're both clearly very passionate about what Anaplan is able to do for your clients and for the broader industry, whether it's finance, whether it's sales. Anaplan's really making a mark. And what I'm curious about from both of your perspectives is, how do you share your knowledge or your passion of what Anaplan could be doing or what it could be driving for your clients?
Yeah, so I would answer that in two parts. So one is when I think about our teams and our practices, in terms of enabling practitioners to learn Anaplan on these large engagements, and helping them grow in their career through their learning of the platform, and seeing practitioners go from not knowing Anaplan at all to achieving that master Anaplanner certification, and then empowering the rest of the teams. That's been key.
Yeah, that's got to be really exciting to watch that happen in people on your team, new professionals growing up.
Absolutely. And then the second part is not necessarily just the on the job with our clients experience, but also through firm initiatives, seeing our practitioners speak at CPX on developing various apps or connected solutions has also been a great vehicle to see our practitioners and our practice grow.
Yeah, that's a great way of you're amplifying your message and your expertise, and then impacting the careers of others on the way.
It gives them good practice too.
Yeah. Zaf, what about you?
Sure. So I think from a team perspective and sharing knowledge, I think there's a lot that we do with regard to sharing our things like completed solutions or use cases that have gone live. Hey, what are some of the intricacies of these particular solutions that we can share with the team? We've got a good framework in terms of how to circulate that information from, okay, what are the elements of this particular solution that we can roll into some of our other projects and things that we do on an ongoing basis. I think we always start from and look to leverage the Anaplan team, so like best practices, David Smith and his teams who've created the planual, let's say, for example, we start with that as a baseline, and then for the particular use cases that we have, we go into a really great amount of detail that typically materialize themselves in proof of concepts that we can take to our customers that incorporate the learnings, right, so that it is a consistently innovative sort of process in terms of moving forward. We construct our models in a certain way with that in mind, right? So certainly our customers have to adopt to the technologies, and we try to create the platform in such a way that they can do that. But for our own internal teams as well, right? We are in a vast growing ecosystem, and there are dozens of people joining the Anaplan ecosystem every week, right? From a consultant's perspective, there's lots of folks who are going through level 1 and level 2 model building, which are really great, by the way. And to really ramp them from level 2 completion up to, hey, you're ready to deliver enterprise solutions for some of the most demanding customers in the world. There's a lot that we do in terms of naming conventions and just things where we build in the learning into what we do, so that when folks come along and they sort of shadow other team members, or they take a look at other solutions or demo solutions that we've built, they're able to absorb that sort of collective knowledge that we as a firm have been building over the past 3 years.
Right, so it's almost baked into everything you've been doing over that time.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Maybe Zaf, can you tell us a little bit about some of the successes that you've been able to drive for some of your clients as a result of all of that learning, that experience of what you've been building?
Sure, absolutely. I think Anaplan at the face value, right, and I think that I'm certainly curious to hear what Joanna has to say about this as well, but Anaplan is an enterprise technology. It is something that helps facilitate, I'll just use the FP&A perspective, right? It helps facilitate connected planning, large, disparate, disconnected spreadsheets and emails going back and forth and SharePoints and all that kind of stuff. No, let's bring it onto a single consolidated platform. And by virtue of doing that, the value that gets provided to the organization mainly materializes itself in efficiency and cost savings, right, where you're lowering the cost of doing X, Y, and Z. I think one of the more difficult to measure, I would say, but more interesting aspect of Anaplan is that, well, okay, you've reduced the time that it takes you to do these analyses or something like that. What do you then do with the rest of that time, right? And that really opens up new analyses that you weren't necessarily able to do previously. And through those new analyses comes potentially better decision making, right? And so that's always really interesting for me to see through my customer's eyes. Hey, I'm now able to make a better decision, or I'm able to have more time to make what will hopefully be the best decision for my firm, to move forward. Particularly in the asset management space, it's really interesting to see some of those things materialize, not just within the Anaplan models and through communicating with our customers, but also through the media, let's say, for example, and seeing some of those things materialize on the Wall Street Journal or in these various different blogs that sort of cover our space. So it's really interesting, I think, to see that and see how, through an insider's lens, I suppose, right, where I'm able to say, hey, because of the additional decision-making capabilities that this platform, provides, maybe some of that kind of help them to make that decision or help them make that decision a little bit more clearly.
Yeah, so that time outcome, it's not the outcome itself, it's what that outcome allows you to achieve next.
Exactly. Really tricky to measure that, but and we're trying.
Yeah. And Joanna, what about from your perspective?
Yeah, I think you can also look at it as how does it change their planning process? And fundamentally, if you look at an annual planning cycle, does that change who in the organization they're starting that process with? Does it amplify the intersection with sales and finance or sales and marketing? And so they're taking that time and baking that into making better decisions earlier in the process, and therefore you get more of those productivity and those efficiency gains. I would definitely agree with you on the savings route, and whether that's marketing, alliance fund leakage, and direct savings to being able to get your sales letters out weeks or months faster, and the boost that has to the sales teams or on the finance side, as you mentioned. But I think the productivity side is interesting to measure, and you can start to see that pretty quickly after you help a customer go live in terms of how they do their day-to-day and they do those processes within the tool. I read something like 70 million folks globally are still planning in spreadsheets. So yeah,
got a lot of opportunity to
exactly.
All right, well, I think you bring up a really interesting point about the intersection there between sales and finance. So we're kind of here, we're looking at almost increasing the top line and then turning that and translating it to increasing the bottom line. Joanna, what's your perspective maybe on connecting those dots or connecting the benefits across from maybe a sales transformation and then the impacts over to finance?
Absolutely. So if you think about the sales process and the plan to pay ecosystem, you need those financial targets at the beginning. If you don't have the financial budget set, it's going to delay for example, the target setting process from the get-go. Oftentimes I see customers starting with one particular use case, or sometimes there's pockets of use cases, and we're able to bring those together either during the course of an initial implementation or subsequently as a client embarks on their Anaplan journey. But the connection between sales and finance is one of the most fundamental, I think, connected planning use cases that we have.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I also think that in general, sales performance management, the sales use cases aren't as widely adopted as our finance customers are. Maybe if you think about some of your large successful territory quota, whatever the specific use cases, what are some of the benefits that maybe our finance only customers aren't aware of that Anaplan can drive on a sales planning side?
Absolutely. So I think I talked a little bit about the speed to market, and so that actually applies across marketing, across sales, across a number of different use cases. But if you're able to plan more efficiently, get your budgets locked and finalized in Anaplan and conduct your campaign planning or your sales planning, then you're able to go to market faster. You're able to motivate the sales reps if you're able to get those sales letters in their hands. They know what they're selling, they know who they're selling to, and it creates a positive return for the organization.
Yeah, we kind of lose that, the gap between the start of the year and when I know what my target might be, or when I know what I might be better gold based on, or what I should really be chasing. Kind of shrinking that window means more productive weeks and months in the year.
Absolutely. You're also able to make changes if you do need to make changes. And if you look at the tech sector in particular, which is one part of the one industry that I particularly focus on, they need to pivot very quickly, very often, and having a solution in place that enables them to plan faster and make those decisions is a true benefit.
Yeah, that's excellent. So that's a great point about pivoting quickly, being able to update your plans. And one of the key parts of that obviously is enabling our customers so that after you are finished with your first implementation, or whether it's an expand use case, as an implementation partner, you've deployed this great model, and now hopefully you've enabled the customers to the point where they can then tweak things, maybe build around the edges, and then, to your point, enable that kind of those pivots or those quick changes throughout the year. So maybe can you tell us a little bit about how do you go about enabling our customers, and what does the journey look like? What does your relationship look like as you evolve and mature your relationship longer term?
If I think about the customer transformation and the journey that they're on, it really starts from looking at their processes and either redesigning them, harmonizing them, helping them look at their day-to-day, so involving them in that process, no pun intended, conducting process workshops with them, helping them understand where Anaplan can plug into those current state processes, whether that's Excel or whether that's another tool, as Zaf mentioned. So I think that's the first step. The second is actually involving them in the implementation as soon as possible. So we have clients get trained on Anaplan, at least the 101, 102 basic courses initially, partnering with our business partner also to conduct further Anaplan training at that particular account. So that way the clients can help us with sprint acceptance testing, and they're in the platform early on in the process. They're getting to know whether that's sprint 1, sprint 2, well ahead of any kind of end-to-end testing or UAT, depending on if we're going agile or maybe a more traditional approach. And then I think on the tech adoption side, whether it's a global implementation or a particular use case, in the U.S., for example, having our clients part of that adoption journey. So whether that's change champions, having dedicated super users in region, and helping them empower their own team members to evangelize the power of Anaplan and the benefits of that particular use case, that transformation, whatever the problem is that we're helping address for our clients. So I think bringing them in early on is one of our biggest lessons learned, and then also helping them with that formulation of their center of excellence and what does end state look like, who's going to manage post-production challenges, who's going to tackle enhancements, who's going to run point on change management and adoption long-term throughout their journey, and helping them think through what that operating model looks like, I think rounds out the full trifecta of enablement.
Yeah, I think that's a great way of putting it. It's not just the customer's or the client's responsibility. It's not just Anaplan's responsibility or just the implementation partner's responsibility. It's all of our responsibility to set the customer up for their long-term use of Anaplan. So Zaf, I'm curious from your perspective, when you think about the longer term, obviously you're not just deploying a model and then leaving forever. You've got a highly enabled customer. Maybe they've got a few master Anaplanners. They've got a center of excellence. They still want to work with LyonPoint. So what do you see as that evolving relationship like over time?
Yeah, absolutely. So once you've finished your sort of first sets of implementations, you start to build that center of excellence, and then that customer really starts to, it's almost like Anaplan is now threaded in the DNA of that particular organization. That's a really great spot to be in, and that's where, that's when you know that things will continue to take off from there. Once you're at that spot, the continued engagement with the customer, right, follows. There are certain strategic things that we can provide for our customers, and we certainly look to do that, either on a macro trend perspective, as we take a look at the industry overall, right? There are certainly opportunities for us to engage with our customers on a strategic advisory basis to help them, solve problems that are sort of peripheral to the technology issues that they have, and that may have technological implications, right? So, for example, in the asset management industry right now, there are record amounts of dry powder, let's say, for example, uninvested funds. There's a lot of focus on ESG, let's say, for example, environmental, social, and governance related metrics and things like that that our clients, investors are looking at, and they want a little bit more reporting on that. So we pay attention to these broader macro trends that are happening. We advise our customers, and in so doing, right, we are helping them to identify additional use cases, right? That's one sort of key area in identifying, hey, where else, right? Help me fill in my blind spots a little bit, right? And help me figure out what are the other things that I could potentially be doing. Second certainly is working with them to figure out, what is it that other folks are doing, right? So as Anaplan continues to grow, and we go to great events like CPX and AKO, and we hear about all of these different stories of, hey, this is a use case that we did for digital transformation project management, or here's a use case that we did for website tracking. Let's say, for example, these are some that I've heard over the past couple of weeks and months, and then being able to take that information, synthesize it into new information, and continually be a resource to your customers, and identify additional areas for them to become even more proficient. Last thing I'll add is certainly as Anaplan is an evolving ecosystem and an evolving platform, and as new components or new features come out, right? So dynamic cell access was one from a few years ago, and then you had some new asset management specific functions actually from last year. Thank you, product team. And then new UX, let's say, for example, that has come out. Our customers are looking for us to be guides to say, hey, what do you think about these new features and functionality? What are the areas that we can look to deploy those within our current models? And give us your recommendation, right? Be our be a guide for us, right? And come in with a strong opinion, and we'll evaluate that and figuring out how to move forward.
So let me take you up on that right now. One of the themes of Anaplan Live is the new UX and all of the new ways that our customers are using it or should be using it. So Zaf, what's your favorite part of the new UX, or your first, one step, first thing to get started with on the new UX?
I got to say, I like the new look and feel. It definitely feels more modern. I would say that that's probably chief among them. I would say having the Anaplan app on my phone, knowing that that is now something that's in play is certainly something really good. We look forward to seeing continued improvements and enhancements from the product team, and look forward to seeing that area of the solution continue to evolve and grow, and hopefully blossom into something really, really great.
Yeah.
Sometime soon.
Mobile, planning at the edge, that's definitely like, if we're enabling that for our customers, we're kind of taking planning to the whole next level, and beyond planning, decision making, all of those things. Joanna, what about from your perspective on the new UX?
Yeah, actually, I was going to say mobile as well. If I think about my core clients are sales and marketers, and having that experience for a marketer is key. But also, if you think about sales reps, could be anywhere, everywhere. You have channel partners, and them being able to look at their compensation, look at their territories, see what's changing next quarter, and being able to predict more accurately their business based on just glancing down at their mobile is key.
Yeah, planning is a living thing. Planning should be an active thing, not just a passive, something that happened that one time and
Absolutely.
I got the results and I saw them.
No, that's why, they're able to predict their own behavior as well.
Excellent. So thank you so much, Joanna. Thank you, Zaf. I think one of the things that we especially want everybody in the Anaplan ecosystem to be aware of and celebrate with us is the rich diversity of the partners in the Anaplan ecosystem. It's not just about building Anaplan models. It's not just about deploying one or two use cases. It's about the deep expertise that you all bring to the Anaplan ecosystem, which makes us greater than any other, where we grow beyond just the technology solution that we offer. We are a robust ecosystem of solving customer challenges where they are. So we thank you so much for your expertise, for being part of the Anaplan ecosystem, and taking time to talk today. Thank you.